After the storm that was stirred from the pill refinement that day, the topic of almost the entire Black Emperor pavilion was gathered on this white-clothed lady with a frightening strength as well as that mysterious alchemist. Many people were keeping watch outside that building, attempting to catch some clues. However, there was no longer even the slightest activity within the building after that pill refinement was over. Due to the extremely strong killing intent, no one dared to carelessly approach it. The owners of that pavilion did not reveal their faces regardless of the uproar in the outside world. Some people came to visit with strange thoughts, but they could only wisely leave after being left outside the shut door. Moya, who thought of himself as extremely great, was naturally included among these people. While the outside world was in an uproar because of the matter yesterday, Exio Yan merely dragged his tired body out of the secret chamber for the first time. The little fairy doctor and Zedai Yan, who was standing guard in the living room, quickly came forward after seeing that Exio Yan had finally come out of the secret chamber. They could not help but softly sigh when they saw that the latter's eyes were filled with traces of blood. Was this fellow actually this crazy when he refined pills? You have remained in the secret chamber for 2 days. We would have forcefully broken the door if you did not come out. The little fairy doctor could not help but press her eyebrows vertically and rebuke. She watched Exio Yan drink all the tea on the table in one go. Exio Yan merely smiled when he heard the little fairy doctor reprimanding him. He did not stop after having completed the refinement of the zong-breaking pill back then. Instead, he had once again opened the cauldron and refined some other medicinal pills after having rested and recovered his Do QI. Therefore, the time he ended up spending was a little longer. Although this kind of continuous refinement caused Exio Yan to be extremely tired, he did end up with an extremely rich reward. His current wealth would enable him to have some qualification to compete with the people in the auction. Was there any problems during these 2 days? Exio Yan placed his teacup down and inquired with a smile, other than some stupid people, no one dares to come and disturb us. The little fairy doctor replied, KK, looks like you have deterred quite a number of people with ill intent by revealing yourself back then. Exio Yan smiled as he responded, I met with someone from Exio Gate. That person should be your second brother. There is also an old man whose strength is at the Do Zong class beside him. The little fairy doctor softly revealed, that should be first Elder Sukian. He is the only elite Do Zong in the inner academy. Exio Yan slightly smiled. His finger gently tapped the table as he slowly spoke, aren't you planning to visit them? Exio Yan mused for a moment before slowly shaking his head. He said, not for the moment. Quite a number of old monsters have come to this Black Emperor city. All of them are here because of the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva. If we were to expose our relationship with Exio Gate at this moment, it would instead cause some of them to quietly look for helpers. In this way, it will be better for us to reveal ourselves at a critical moment. It's up to you. The little fairy doctor was unconcerned. She raised her grayish-purple eyes and randomly said that Moya has come a couple of times during these last 2 days. He said that the sect leader of the Black Emperor sect, Mo Tianxing, wants to invite you for a gathering. However, I rejected them because you are refining medicinal pills. It's fine rejecting them. Exio Yan nodded his head. A thought immediately flashed in his heart as he asked, what is Mo Tianxing's strength like? He is also an elite Do Zong and is about the same as me. He can be considered a 4-star Do Zong. The little fairy doctor mused before she replied, a 4-star Do Zong ha. Exio Yan muttered to himself, that's right, the grey-robed person at the side of the demon flame valley should also be a Douzong. The little fairy doctor seemed to have recalled something. Therefore, she suddenly spoke again. Xiao Yan knit his brows. His moving finger slowly stopped before he sighed, as expected. I said that the demon flame valley would not simply just allow a Fang Yan to come. Although this fellow can be considered to have half a foot in the Douzong class, there is still an extremely large gap when compared with a genuine Douzong. They actually possess a hidden card. I wonder what the background of this mysterious grey-robed person is. I am not aware of it. The little fairy doctor also shook her head. The aura of the grey-robed person was extremely obscure. If she had not been in close proximity that day, it was likely that even she would have great difficulty discovering the strength of this person. She was also completely unaware of the others. Looks like this Black Emperor city will not be calm. There are so many factions interested in the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva. However, there is only one of it. I wonder which party will become the greatest winner this time around? Xiao Yan coldly laughed. He had a premonition that the auction this time around would be tainted with blood. The little fairy doctor vaguely nodded. She immediately saw Xiao Yan's red eyes and helplessly said, "You should go and rest first. Such exhaustion is not good for your body." Xiao Yan felt somewhat embarrassed after hearing this. His exhaustion this time around was indeed great. If he did not quickly recuperate, it was likely that some burden and harm would be placed on his body. Currently, the auction was about to begin, and the events that followed would not be smooth. He needed to maintain his body at its peak condition at all times. Only then could he guarantee that he would not be caught off guard by any unexpected changes. In that case, I will go and recuperate first and attempt to recover my old condition before the start of the auction tomorrow. Xiao Yan sighed, stood up and looked at the night sky outside the window. He involuntarily smiled before speaking with a faint voice. Looks like tonight will be a sleepless night. The night sky quietly departed. When the first rays of the morning sun appeared, an earth-shaking liveliness instantly erupted within the Black Emperor city, which had been silent for the night. Humans surged out from all directions, swiftly filling the large, empty streets. The direction these human figures headed in was the same. The place was the enormous auction hall in the middle of the city. Today was the day of the largest auction that had been held within the Black Corner region for the last 100 years. The number of experts who had arrived had already exceeded any previous auctions. Its influence had also covered every single corner of the Black Corner region. A ray of morning sunlight spread in through a window and entered a room. It eventually crawled onto a black-robed young man seated cross-legged on a bed. The tightly shut eyes of the black-robed young man twitched under the sunlight. A moment later, his eyes suddenly opened. An unusually powerful aura suddenly surged out of Xiao Yan's body like an awakening lion. It continued to spread from Xiao Yan's body until it filled the entire room. A substance like jade-green flame flickered within his dark black eyes. The black robe covering the surface of Xiao Yan's body fluttered without the presence of the wind. It repeatedly emitted a flapping sound, and it was a long while later before the light from the flames in his eyes slowly paled. After the light from the fire disappeared, the robes on Xiao Yan's body quietly stilled. They once again pressed against Xiao Yan's skin. Some joy made its way into Xiao Yan's eyes when he sensed the Do Qi within his body. It was even more powerful than what it was 2 days ago. Although the crazy pill refinement during these 2 days had caused him to become extremely exhausted, he realized that his Do Qi had actually improved after he endured his fatigue and trained for a night. Although this kind of advancement was extremely little, as it accumulated over the days and months, it was only a matter of time before his breakthrough. Xio Yan leaped down from the bed and randomly washed himself. After which, he took out an unusually large black robe and put it on. He wore a duping which covered his entire body in its shadows. Xio Yan's finger gently rubbed his storage ring before smiling. Only then did he push open the door and leave his room. The little fairy doctor and Zedai Yan, who were already waiting in the hall, were startled when they saw this black-robed person walk out. Zedai Yan was just about to laugh when a black robe was thrown over her, covering her head. Wear it, otherwise first elder and the others will recognize you. The little fairy doctor has already revealed herself, so there is no need for her to wear one. Xio Yan spoke while looking at Zedai Yan, who had tossed aside the black robe. Such ugly clothes. I won't. Zedai Yan's face was bitter. Although she spoke in this manner, she was defeated a moment later under Xio Yan's gaze. She dispiritedly put on the black robe. A little black-robed oddball appeared. Let's go. The auction today will likely be very exciting. Xio Yan smiled as he looked at the two people who were ready. He took the lead to push open the door and walk out. Zedai Yan and the little fairy doctor followed close behind him. Due to the auction being about to begin today, the people who were waiting outside of the pavilion had all dispersed. This saved them some trouble. The three of them identified their route before walking out of the Black Emperor Pavilion. KK, brother Yan. Xio, you have really made me wait. Xio Yan's group had just walked out of this area when a white figure came toward them. A laugh was transmitted into their ears. A soul that won't disperse. The little fairy doctor's eyebrows were vertical while she stared at Moya's warm smile. Xio Yan did not have any good feelings toward this fellow. The gaze under the black robe glanced at Moya before asking in a faint voice, Junior sect leader, is there a matter? Moya looked at Xio Yan, who was hidden under a big black robe. His eyes involuntarily turned to the little fairy doctor. A fiery heat surged in his heart as he looked at the coldness on her moving face. He took out a jade tablet from his storage ring and laughed. KK, this is a VIP seat for the auction. Only those renowned experts from the Black Corner region have the qualification to obtain it. I spent all my breath in order to obtain one from my father. Thank you, Junior sect leader. Xio Yan's heart rejoiced when he saw the gentle manner on that fellow's face. He unceremoniously took the jade tablet from the latter's hand. Without saying any other thanks, he turned around and walked out of the Black Emperor Pavilion's exit. The sneakily laughing Zedai Yan and the little fairy doctor made a detour around Moya and followed. Moya's face twitched. He viciously cursed Xio Yan in his heart before a smile was once again piled on his face. However, he was just about to follow when an icy cool voice caused his face to instantly solidify. His feet seemed to have been glued to the ground. If you are grumbling about your long lifespan, you can follow us.